Welcome, everybody. We've got another crypto probe for you. I'm here with Psychic Liz Cross. How you doing this morning?
Oh, good. Thank you.
All right. So today we're going to talk about crypto narratives. And for those that don't know, in crypto, there's many different sectors of crypto. Like most people outside of crypto would be like, oh yeah, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and then there's all this other weird stuff that's going on. Well, all the other weird stuff that's going on, it does have categories that they're put into. For instance, we'll go through some of the older ones, narratives that actually took off. So there's probably, I don't know, tens, like 50 to 100 different narratives probably out there, to be honest. But in the history of crypto, only a few of them have really actually taken off. To really high, like super high highs in the last cycles. So on my screen, I use crypto Twitter as kind of a lot of my resource for doing my research. So thank you to all the researchers out there that I feature here. This gentleman has identified some of the successful narratives of the past. So in 2017, we had ICOs, which were initial coin offerings, just like you have IPOs in the stock market, where you have new projects launch, right? And people can invest in them early, right? That was the big gold rush of 2017. And then in 2018, we had layer one platforms that were launched. So those are all like the actual chains themselves, like new chains. Like originally we just had the chain of Bitcoin, and then we had the chain of Ethereum, and so on and so on. 2019 was exchange tokens. That was a big one. So we had BNB, which is associated with Binance, which went on to do incredible gains because they offer a whole new ecosystem as an alternative to Ethereum. And then 2020, before the bull run kicked off, we had decentralized finance. So you had things like Uniswap, you had a decentralized exchange, and then you had borrowing and lending platforms and different financial instruments that the bank would offer, but you don't need a bank anymore. There's no middleman. And then in 2021, the big craze was NFTs, which, in their infancy were just kind of pictures that people created, digital pictures, which people gave value to, and they commanded huge sums of money, millions of dollars they were going for at the height. So these are an example of where the successful ones. So Liz, I'm going to ask you to call in some help on this one. So we're going to have our friend John join us again with the last MCFEE.
Okay, yeah. our friend who's so controversial, we would still get taken down off YouTube, even though he's dead. Okay.
I think he would take that as a compliment, yeah?
Yeah, he does. He loves you, by the way.
Wonderful. So, Liz, these examples, the NFTs, the DeFi, are examples of narratives that did really well. And I remember in our other video, I tried to get you to grab the example of Matic and how well it did. So we have a benchmark. And so I'm hoping that we can use the benchmark of decentralized finance and NFTs from the last cycle to identify the coming narratives, which will do just as well. And if we can identify those, then we can kind of focus our energy a little bit better, because there's just so much to it's like finding a needle in a haystack going forward. So, I'm going to bring up, next, the current narratives that people are looking at now as possible. So there's a lot of them. This is one handful of them. So we're going to go through them one by one. So the first one we have is layer ones. So that means their own chain. For instance, we have BNB is its own chain. AVAX is its own chain. Ethereum is its own chain. Near is its own chain. So there's their own ecosystems, if you will, where they build all these different things underneath them. So layer ones are competing with Bitcoin and Ethereum for the most part, right? As faster chains to come out. They're faster, they're cheaper. Pulse chain would be an example of a layer one. How popular are they going to be in the next couple of years, using the benchmark of how popular NFTs were in the last cycle on a scale of 1 to 10? We're going to do the 1 to 10 scale. So you can ask John, or you can draw from your own.
Okay, so on a scale of 0 to 10, and what am I asking exactly?
Using the benchmark of DeFi and NFTs, on a scale of 1 to 10, how popular are these going to be in the next couple of years? Layer ones.
I'm getting a thumbs down.
Okay. All right. That was my kind of suspicion as well overall. Yeah, compared to NFTs. Okay, good to know. So we're going to put a thumbs down on that one. I'm taking notes here. All right. L2s. L2s are layer 2s built on top of things like Ethereum. So for instance, Matic was a layer 2, which did amazingly well last cycle. And then this cycle, there's new ones. There's Arbitrum, there's Optimism. So overall on L2s, which are built on top of L1s, how on a scale of 0 to 10 compared to like NFTs on last cycle, how do they compare going forward in the next couple of years?
I mean, I'm getting a thumbs up on that on a scale of 0 to 10. How well do they perform in the next couple of years? Probably 3 to 4.
Okay. All right. Good to know. The next one is decentralized finance. So we already had decentralized finance as a booming market, and now people are talking about like DeFi 2.0. So it would be decentralized finance projects that are coming out in this next coming years that are like the new kids on the block, if you will. Decentralized finance on a scale to 1 to 10 compared to NFTs on last cycle, how popular are they the next couple of years?
About a 5.
Okay, makes sense. Okay, moving on. Artificial intelligence. This has been a popular one earlier on in the year, and a lot of people are thinking that this is going to come back again. So artificial intelligence, there's all kinds of different projects that you would classify as them. Some of the bigger ones this year have been Render, Agix, AGIX, and then a bunch of them that were existing last cycle, like Fetch.ai and Ocean. How popular going forward compared to NFTs in the next cycle is AI going to be in the next couple of years on a scale of 1 to 10?
Compared to NFTs? Is it going to be more popular than NFTs going forward? Absolutely more popular than NFTs. I feel like NFTs are kind of falling.
Yes, they have been falling. So we're comparing it to the hype that they had in the last cycle when they were going crazy. That's our benchmark.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, so AI is definitely better than NFTs. On a scale of 0 to 10, how successful will the AI coins be going forward in the next year or so? I feel like 6 or 7.
Okay, cool. All right, next one is a new sector called GambleFi, and it has a collection of projects under it that are to do with like sports betting or like betting markets. I haven't really gone too deep in it myself, other than I know one big project that's done really well, and we actually probed it in one of our previous crypto probes called Rollbit. RLB, and you said it was going to do really well. So this sector, GambleFi, on a scale of 1 to 10 compared to NFTs in their last big hype cycle, how do they score going forward the next couple of years?
And this is, I'm sorry, which one?
People are calling it GambleFi.
On a scale of 0 to 10. How popular is GambleFi in the next year? About a 4.
Okay. Now we did probe one of those projects, RLB, in the last probe, and it was like, compared to Matic, you got it was very popular. Like it was on the level or surpassed it. So for that particular project, is that the one that bucks the curve, if you will, or is the exception to the rule?
And the name of it again is
RLB, or Rollbit.
Rollbit, RLB. Is that gonna buck the curve? Yeah, it does a bit. Yes, it does.
Okay. All right. Just wanted to know. The next one is LSD, and it's not a drug.
Right.
It stands for liquid staking protocols, and it's where you actually can lock up assets that are derivatives for staking and validators, which people are like, what the heck is that? But honestly, you don't really need to know what it does. We just need to know if it's going to be popular or not. So again, our benchmark for LSDs are the NFT hype cycle of 2021. On a scale of 1 to 10, how does it compare?
It's about a 6.
Cool. All right. Okay, another one is decentralized exchanges. So this is an old narrative, and so how it works is every time you have a new crypto chain, you need a place to trade things on the chain. So, for instance, Ethereum has Uniswap, right? That came out in the last cycle. It also has Sushi Swap, and then the different protocols like BNB has Cake to swap the assets on BNB. And so on. So these DEXs, decentralized exchanges, is that going to again be a popular narrative going forward compared to the NFTs of last cycle on a scale of 1 to 10?
I'm getting a no.
Okay. It makes sense. It's an old narrative, right? So it makes sense to me. On a scale of 1 to 10, what would you get? Just for
About a 3.
okay. All right, makes sense to me. Next one is called perps, and it's not to do with the police force. It stands for perpetual trading. So it's where you're actually doing leverage trading with these synthetic instruments on exchanges, which can be very dangerous if you don't know what you're doing. Anyhow, perps, or perpetual exchanges, examples would be DYDX or Apex or GMX. Those are things that came out earlier in the year and did well. On a scale of 1 to 10, how do they compare to NFTs in their hype cycle from 2021?
They're about a 6 compared to NFTs.
Okay.
NFTs are like a 1.
Well, we are comparing it to when they were a 10 in the last cycle. Like,
okay.
Right. So they were really popular in 2021.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
So we're trying to use that as a benchmark to compare.
Oh, I see. Like, you mean the NFTs were very popular in 2021?
Yeah, it was its own narrative, right? Like these are all narratives that we're going through, right? Different sectors. And so we're using NFTs from 2021 as a benchmark because they were extremely popular. I would put them as a 10 or a 9, a 9 or a 10.
But it's only the early ones that end up being extremely popular, right? Once everybody jumps on the crypto bandwagon or the narrative bandwagon, that's what makes them just fade out. The trend is gone.
Right. So we're looking to figure out which one of these we can be early in.
I see. So let me ask our friend John, how do you see NFTs going forward in the future? No, I feel like it's over for the NFTs. I'm like, is there going to be a resurgence of NFTs? No. I think the NFT thing is here and done.
Yeah, that makes sense. But we're using it again as a benchmark from how well they did in 2021 I would put them as like a 9 or a 10. They may not be coming back again, but we're using it as like a psychic benchmark where we can look back and say that energy that they had then, who is going to have it going forward? That's kind of what we're trying to accomplish. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so the perps are not going to have it going forward. Is anything out there at the moment gonna? Yes, I feel like if anything, at the moment, so far, what we've covered, the AI, as fleeting as it will be, the AI seems to be stronger than a lot of these others.
Okay, so the AI is the strongest one so far.
Right now, the feeling that I get right now, and from John, the AI is definitely the strongest tool in the box as of right now.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, you've got to catch whatever comes out extremely early.
Right. And I think now is a good time actually for AI because it's not hugely in the limelight. Like it had a run earlier in the year and then it's kind of faded out. So there's still opportunities you can grab for cheap right now. And so, okay. So the only other one that we got, that one got a 6 or 7 from you. The only other one that got a 6 was the LSDs. So given that we understand what we're trying to accomplish now, is that on the same level or no?
Is LSD on the same level? I feel like it's slower and more stability with the LSDs than the AI. You're gonna have to be careful the AI stuff. It's gonna be like pump and dumps.
Yeah, I think so too, because a lot of the technology behind it is not really, it's vaporware in my opinion. It's just a hype thing. So you got to be ready to get in and get out of that. But if it does pump, it's going to pump hard probably. That's my opinion too on it. So we agree on that. So the LSD is going to be a longer, slower thing, but it does have potential as well.
It does have potential, but it's slower. So if people are looking for very, very quick gains, like in and out, that's more AI. They're not going to see the quick gains in the LSD like they will the AI, but over time, the LSDs will outperform the AI.
Okay, that's good information. That's good to know. And actually, that makes a lot of sense to me, actually. So I know you know nothing about this.
I have no idea what
But
you're
that
talking
actually
about.
does make a lot of sense in a lot of different ways. Okay, so with that information, let's continue on. So there's another one called options. And I actually don't know a lot about this one, but I think it's to do with options trading in crypto. So like in the traditional markets, you have options trading, obviously. So they're going to have exchanges that have these financial instruments for people to use. Does John think that these guys will do as well as NFTs did last cycle on a scale of 1 to 10?
Yes. Now, I'm all about the options trading. Okay. In the market, we did a video about those yield max funds. Now, where everybody was shaming the yield max funds, oh, they're scary, oh, this, oh, that, right? Now, BlackRock and all of these other big wigs are seeing that options and higher yields are the way to go. People are willing to take that risk. And now you've got these massive banks coming out and companies coming out with options because the yield max has totally defied and changed the whole scope of the market now. People want to make money and they want to make money fast. A 4% yield throughout the year, 12 months of the year at 4% isn't as attractive as 40 to 60% spread out through the 12 months. And that is why I said, and just a reminder, I know this is going off crypto, but that is why I said, guys, grab some of those funds, get a spread, get your yield back, your initial investment, yeah, okay, it goes down like when the market went down, the yields went down, not the yields, well, the yields went down obviously because the price point went down. But so what? So did everything else, right? But over time, the yields that these things are generating, you will make back your money and then you play with the house money. Okay. So the fact that they're now doing this in crypto. So can you tell us some of these options funds?
So there's a couple ones that are listed on this in front of us here. Dairy, DPX, Hedgic, Lira, Odds, Premia are the ones that are listed here. But what this is, basically, this is just a fishing expedition to see which narratives are the popular ones. And we're going to do videos that actually like zoom in, and I'm going to pick actual ones we can to see which ones are going to be the most successful.
Awesome.
So,
okay.
Yeah. So okay, can we get a 1 to 10 on that one on overall how well it does in the next couple of years compared to the other narratives?
7.
Oh, okay, cool. All right. Okay, the next one is there's a lot of hype around these. They haven't really taken off yet, but like a lot of people are talking about it, and it's called real world assets. They're RWA, and it's basically tokenizing things in the real world. So it could be financial instruments like bonds and U.S. treasuries, or it could be actual physical items in the real world like watches and clothing. And I think it goes deeper than that, but that's some of the main things that they're going to be doing. And so can we get John's opinion on real world asset narratives? On a scale of 1 to 10 compared to the other narratives, how well do they do in the next couple of years?
Scale of 1 to 10, about a 2.
Really? That's hilarious. It's
well,
funny. It's
a lot of that is scam.
Yeah, I believe so too. And I think that maybe this has a chance of taking on later on, but I don't know if it's going to take off now. Because I think it's very in its infancy. I don't think it's going to take off in this cycle, but a lot of people are focused on it. So it's like a lot of the times I find the things that people are most focused on thinking are going to happen usually are the ones that don't. It's the ones you don't expect. So this is the one that everyone expects. So that's interesting. Okay, moving on. Real yield is the next one we have listed here. So basically it's I believe, and I'm not too familiar with this one yet, but it's a way to get yield from some of these existing platforms like GMX and SNX that are so what by yield I mean like you lock up stuff and you get gains on it, like you get paid out interest by locking your stuff up for a period of time. And this is like a new way to do that without getting too complicated. So real yield, can we ask John how well this does compared to the other narratives on a scale of 1 to 10?
Real yield, it's about a 5.
Okay. All right. The next one, I actually don't know anything about it. There's so many narratives out there. I actually don't know anything about this one. It's called account abstraction. And let's see here. I don't even recognize any of the projects associated with it. My apologies to people, but there's just so much information out there. Can we ask John about account abstraction protocols? On a scale of 1 to 10 compared to the other narratives, how well did they do in the next couple of years?
Account abstraction protocols?
Yes.
Scam.
All right. So big
I don't even know what that means.
Yeah. I have not looked into that one yet. But I might not be doing that now. So
well, overall, a lot of opportunity to scam.
Yeah. Okay. The next narrative I do know about, and they were popular earlier this year, and they are Telegram bots. So people have created these trading bots that are actually user-friendly to use, and they actually are on Telegram, which is a social media platform. And And a big one that took off earlier this year was Unibot. And there's been a bunch of different ones that have come out recently to chase that narrative. So Telegram bots, can we ask John going forward, how on a scale of 1 to 10, this narrative, how well does it do in the coming years?
Actually, that has a lot of potential.
Okay.
10. It's about a 5 or a 6.
Okay. All right.
I feel this is more sustained than, you know, the up and down or the pump and dumps.
Right. Okay. Noted. Duly noted. Next one is an older narrative that's come back, and that's called wallet tokens. So a lot of the crypto wallets out there, they'll actually have their own token, and they'll figure out clever ways to monetize that. So we had Trust Wallet came out with their own TWT. And there's a few other different wallets that have them. Not every wallet has it, by the way. So can we ask John, on the topic of wallet tokens, how well do they do as a narrative going forward for the next couple of years on a scale of 1 to 10?
They're about a 5, but they're more stable and slow growing than the pump and dumps. Like AI, as far as like, you know, 10x, 100, you know, the biggest potential. But you gotta have to be careful, because if you put your money in that stuff, you literally have to get out on the pump.
Yeah, I agree. I completely agree with you. Okay. Next one, we already kind of you looked at NFTs already, and you said that it's not going to ever really come back in the same way that it did. But I want to ask something different for this one. So I think you're right on the NFT thing. However, they've kind of evolved into something else, which we've already looked at, and that is something called ordinals, or it's the same category as that Bitmap is under, in fact. So Bitmap is almost like an NFT, you could say, at least how it exists now. And they are NFTs, but they're not the traditional ones. They're a different technology. Can we look at, I guess, ordinals as a narrative, including ordinals NFTs? How well do they do in the coming cycle on a scale of 1 to 10?
Ordinals. So ordinals and NFTs are different.
The ordinals have their own version of NFTs.
What do you mean by ordinals?
Okay, yeah, I should explain. So ordinals were created originally on Bitcoin earlier this year, and they're a way to actually inscribe data on the blockchain, and then you can create NFTs that are on chain. So let's say you create an NFT on Bitcoin as an ordinal. It's numbered in a certain order. So the order starts from inscription number 1 to infinity, basically, right? They're all numbered. Every time you create an inscription, it's numbered in order. And the data on that inscription is on the Bitcoin blockchain. So every block or wherever you want to inscribe it on the Bitcoin chain. And so this means that if you were to inscribe an NFT or to create an NFT on Bitcoin, it's always going to be there on that block in that time. It's going to be inscribed or created on that block at a certain time, a certain date. And it's always going to be there as long as Bitcoin exists. It can never be erased from the ledger. So these ordinals started on Bitcoin, and now they're spreading, as we saw in different probes we did. Now they're on Dogecoin. Now they're on Litecoin. And I think they're even starting to become on Ethereum now and different chains. So it's its own narrative called ordinals, which can be different. It could be all kinds of different. It could be NFTs, could be coins that are created as ordinals, could be DeFi projects, you name it. But they are all on-chain assets, which are different from regular NFTs or regular coins. I know that's complicated, but
it is. So ordinals as a whole are about a 6.
Mm-hmm.
NFTs built on the ordinals are like a 3.
Okay. Okay.
So can you do other things on the ordinals apart from NFTs?
Yes. So they have, so on Bitcoin, you have BRC20 tokens.
Okay.
And they are tokens that are on chain. Anybody can inscribe them by just paying a transaction fee. The most popular one, it's actually taking off right now in the last couple of days, is called Ordi. And it has gone crazy. So we kind of missed that one. But that would be an example of a BRC20.
Okay.
So on a scale of 1 to 10 within ordinals, how well did BRC20s do?
So on a scale of 0 to 10. Ordinals, how successful. Now those are scoring quite high. Those are scoring at a 9.
Wow. Okay. All right. So we're gonna have to do another probe on that one for sure. Okay.
Yeah. Although I know this stuff is very complicated. So,
Yeah.
and I'm asking questions because I'm trying to figure it out. That's part of my logical mind that is wanting to kick in just to separate it, because I think I was going, well, NFTs on ordinals, they didn't seem that they were doing that well, but I knew that the ordinals, they felt as if they were doing well.
Yes. Yeah, overall they're very popular. They have been. I mean, Bitmap is part of that, and it is, it's gone crazy. Ordi is the first coin on there that went absolutely nuts, and it's going nuts right now. So there's definitely a lot of hype around it. A
So
lot of the
other what is it, BRC20
yeah.
coins coming out?
Oh yeah, they're coming out every minute. They're just pumping them out. So I have to figure out a way where we can probe them individually to find out how we can find the good ones. Separate the wheat from the chaff. That'll be another project. Okay, let's get there's a few more I want to get through, and then we'll cut this one. Okay, so another one would be social fi. Social fi would be like social media built on crypto. On a scale of 1 to 10, how does that narrative do in the next couple of years compared to the others?
4. I feel like overall social media is dying out.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm asking, why is social media dying out? Well, because it's boring. We're realizing that that level of connection is not what we want. It's a bunch of arguing, it's a bunch of discord. Unless it's centered around a particular hobby, it just seems to be like a lot of unhappy people making comments, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, and we're moving into more video and less of like the pictures and commenting on the individuals. It's more, we're forgetting the individual. We seem to be going more towards like video. And I'm saying, but what about Twitter or X? X seems to be taking a nosedive.
Yeah.
It had the hype because obviously Elon Musk took it over. You saw this resurgence. Now it's starting to be a lot like every other platform. And really, it's basically those that are like YouTubers or influencers are just using it as another method to reach out to people and to market their videos. But overall, like the concept of social media is changing. It's no longer about the individual. It's about learning. We've moved into what can we learn from one another.
Right. Okay, let's get through these last couple ones. The next big one, and everybody's assuming this one's going to be huge, is gaming. So video games and crypto. There's a ton of video game projects out there. So many. They took off a little bit in the last cycle, but they didn't really get to where everybody assumed they're going to be. So can we ask John, in terms of crypto gaming, or GameFi as it's called, how well does it do in the coming couple years on a scale of 1 to 10 compared to the others?
It's about a 3. So the people that are investing in crypto are not there because they're gamers. Gamers are a whole different category to crypto people. And what I'm getting is the gamers are leaving the crypto market.
Wow.
They're just gamers.
Yeah. All right. That also actually makes sense to me. Okay. All right. How about privacy? This is one that everybody has really faded. Nobody really expects this one. But going forward in the world that we've seen in some of these probes, privacy might be very important. So over the next couple of years, privacy coins, as they're called, like Monero, and there's Caspa, and there's a whole bunch of new ones that have come out as a narrative for privacy. How well does it do on a scale of 1 to 10 compared to the others?
Privacy. There's a lot of good energy around privacy. On a scale of 1 to 10. These are more long-term instead of pump and dumps.
Yep.
So I'm getting a 4.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense to me too. Yeah, so in terms of them being long-term in this cycle, going into like 25, 26, do they reach their full potential, or is it more in the future?
Do they reach their full potential? No, that's more in the future. Definitely, look, at the end of the day, unless you are just, a terrible picker at coins, or, you have put in way too much money into too many bad coins, you haven't got a diversified portfolio, you should be able to make money in the next bull run.
Sure. We're going to narrow it down so we hit more of the, the big ones, though. That's the idea here, because there's a lot to choose from to make that portfolio. Okay, let's do one more. Let's do proof of work. So these chains, proof of work, it started with Bitcoin. Bitcoin is a proof of work. They have miners that mine the coins into existence. And all these proof of work are the same kind of model, and they're kind of having a little bit of a resurgence now. So can we ask John about proof of work protocols as a narrative going forward in the next couple of years, scale of 1 to 10 on how well they do?
Proof of work protocols on a scale of 1 to 10. About a 5.
Okay. All right. Okay, fair enough. So we haven't really hit a lot of the big ones out of the park, and I'm not surprised because we're pretty early right now. And so all the things that people are looking at, we haven't really seen what's coming in the next. The biggest projects might not even exist yet. We may be seeing them in the next 6 months. So we're going to keep at this. This is not over. Now, we did find a few that I want to look into, like BRC20s, which actually got a 9. AI and LSD, and I'll review this video again. So what we're going to do is we're going to have videos, and these may be behind our paywall for our subscription members. We're going to dive deep into each one of these narratives and try and find the winners out of them, right? And we'll dig down a little bit deeper. So if you're not a member on our Patreon, please consider. We're going to be putting out a lot of good crypto content behind the scenes. You only see not even half the videos that we put out on YouTube.
That is true. And I mean, and also you want to come to this ETT group because, excuse me, if you have blockages in your soul pertaining to financial, you need to come clear some of that mess out.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, you're going to have an energetic barrier that it's not going to allow. Even if I gave you the best information in the world, the universe is going to stop you from acting on it in whatever way, right? So
it's so true, because as I have probed those people at the top, they have no negative emotional attachment to money. None whatsoever.
Right.
So there you go. We all need to be like that. All right. Well, this is great. Thank you so much. And I'll stop this one here. Again, if you guys want to reach out to Mr. Photon, his tip jar is listed in the comments below. Buy him a coffee. He works so hard for all of us. You also do crypto consults. Email him at digitalfreedomtactics@protonmail.com. Also in the comments. And if you want to join the Patreon, patreon.com/remote viewing and beyond, that is also posted in the comments. So thank you very much for this. I can't wait to dive in deeper to find out how these are going to perform individually. And again, those will be locked behind the paywall of Patreon. All right, I'll stop this one here. Thank you.